Darren Sabedra again with Mike Lefkow. It is Saturday afternoon, and we're monitoring scores here on Twitter. And Mike, there is a game going on at the Honor Bowl that probably should not have been matched up with Gilroy and Liberty is 50-0 now, midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, I think that was a game that probably was not the best one to match up.
Right, but we did have some good games on Friday night.
Yes, we
did.
And
Let's start off with one of the shockers out of the South Bay. Actually, there were two shockers in the South Bay, but we'll start off with Wilcox. Stunning Valley Christian 10-6, scoring its 10 points in the first half, including one on the opening series of the game. And they hold Valley Christian to 6 points and made a defensive stand in the final minute when Valley reached the 10-yard line. That is one heck of a win for Wilcox.
Yeah, it's a terrific confidence boost. Real nice. You're right. That's a great win for Wilcox. Obviously, they're a pretty good team, aren't they?
Right. Another shocker in the South Bay, also involving a team from Wilcox's league, Milpitas. A state champion last season, was shocked by Dublin by a point. I think it was 22-21. 22-21. I did not see that one coming.
No, I didn't see that one coming either. But I'll tell you what, I'd keep an eye on Dublin. I think that might be a team that is flying a little under the radar right now.
Right. I'm reading Curtis Pachelka's report here in our Around the Bay, and he says that Grant Manning scored on a 4-yard run with 25 seconds left in the fourth quarter to give Dublin the win. So a dramatic game there at Milpitas for Dublin. One game that was a really good game on Friday night, and it was at the Honor Bowl. St. Francis, which is hosting the 5 games this weekend, they beat Notre Dame Sherman Oaks. A good win for the Lancers.
That's a real nice one for the Lancers. I agree with you. Anytime one of these teams plays a Southern California team, you always say, "Oh, that's going to be a tough one, probably a loss." And
right.
St. Francis came out and did a nice job.
This morning, I talked to Victor Galley, and he was in a pretty good mood. I mean, you could just feel the relief coming, emanating through the phone almost. I mean, after he said it was a tough week there at Pittsburg after last week's heartbreaker to Clayton Valley, the double overtime loss, and they had another quality opponent on its schedule on Friday nights in St. Mary's of Stockton, and Pittsburgh scored 48 unanswered points in the first half and won 48-7. I would say that is a bounce back win.
I'll tell you what, I think that ranks right up there with the Wilcox game, the Dublin game. I mean, 48, St. Mary's of Stockton has a great program.
Right.
And to lose 48,
be
down 48-0 at halftime, I couldn't believe that when I saw that score.
Yeah, that was quite stunning. Another eye-opener on Friday night at Burrell Field, where Monte Vista, we didn't really know a whole what to make of Monte Vista going into the season. We saw the 9-3 result last week, which was definitely an eye-opener that this Monte Vista team is back. Obviously they took a couple steps back last year with a young team, but to win at Granite Bay last week. But then the offense, I guess, showed up, and they won 44-9 over San Leandro, which was ranked 14th in our rankings going into the weekend.
No, that's a great victory for Monte Vista. And, the thing, too, is that they've given up now 12 points in 2 games. So I think the defense on that team is really strong, and that will allow time for their offense to develop. And, 44-point game, that's a good offensive show. But the 12 points, that's what I keep an eye on.
Right. In Oakland on Friday night, McClymonds opened its season with a 25-game winning streak, and they kind of beefed up their schedule. It's going to be interesting to see when they play Liberty here in next week. But Friday night, they were at home for Marin Catholic, and they won 26-0.
Yeah, that's another shocker. I mean, I thought McClymonds could beat Marin Catholic, but I thought it would be a lot closer than that, and 26-0, pretty one-sided victory, and McClymonds looks really good.
A game played on Saturday at the Honor Bowl. Archbishop Mitty really handled Oakdale. I mean, I thought that was going to be a tough matchup for Mitty in his first game with his new coach. And the quarterback, Shamir Bey, had a heck of an afternoon, and Mitty rolled, I think it was 42-14.
Yeah, and, we saw a couple tweets from people down there who said the play calling was pretty creative and that the Mitty offense looked pretty good. So they're under a new coach.
Sione, their new coach, is doing a heck of a job, obviously. And
no, it's only one game, but it's still a pretty impressive game.
That is a big win. The weekend was supposed to start on Thursday night. You and I went to Tac Vedena. We had a nice little dinner, then went over to Tac Vedena to see Austin Jones and Bishop O'Dowd. They were supposed to open their season against Kennedy at Fremont. And we got there, and there was no game.
Yeah, the air quality was bad, and the Kennedy, I think it was a Kennedy principal who dinged the game, and I don't think either coach was real happy about it.
Right.
And I mean, you have all sorts of thoughts race through your head and something like that, and who knows if they were right or not.
Yeah, the reading was 157 or 158, but the added element to this story was that O'Dowd really wanted to play this. They got De La Salle coming up this week, and they offered to play the game on Friday night at their place. And we talked to the coach at Kennedy after the game was called on Thursday, and he said that he had promised his team a 3-day weekend, and 12 kids were going to be out of town of the 29.
He said he was only going to have 17 kids.
Yeah,
on
17
Friday.
of the 29 because they had a prearranged 3-day weekend. And they just decided that 17 wasn't enough to go up there to Bishop O'Dowd, and with the air quality fine yesterday, Kennedy, I guess, took the forfeit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the Kennedy coach had to make that decision if he was only going to have 17 kids. I mean, I don't think you go against a team like O'Dowd with just 17 players. The danger factor is just too high. O'Dowd's a really good team, a lot of talent, several Division I college prospects.
Right.
I just think the speed of the game would have been a little bit much for a team of 17 players.
And to give a little background in this matchup, Kennedy reached out to O'Dowd a couple years ago. This coach reached out to Napoleon Kaufman a couple years ago to schedule this game when Kennedy had a 10-1 season. They got handled pretty good by O'Dowd last year at O'Dowd, and this year probably would have been a rough night for Kennedy had they played the game.
Yeah, I don't imagine it would have been a competitive game, but, and again, it comes down to should these teams be scheduling each other?
Right.
I mean, they're playing on different levels right now.
Right, even though the record looks impressive, that's why we tell people in the rankings it's not always about the record. It's about who you play and what kind of quality of team you have. I mean, just because you're 10-0 in one league doesn't mean that you're up there with the big boys.
Right.
Couple other games of note. Los Alamos had a really big win on Friday night.
They handled Alhambra pretty easily, and Los Alamos is a good team. This is the second year Doug Longero has been back as the coach. They've got some pretty good talent, and they're going to be a surprisingly good team this year.
Right. You were in Concord on Friday night for the De La Salle. De La Salle, at least, from what I read and on paper, I mean, 35-7 looks impressive, but you got another vibe when you talked to Justin Allenbaugh in the locker room on Friday night.
Well, they weren't real happy with the way their kids played. They just said execution wasn't real good. They missed a lot of things offensively and defensively, but at the same time, it was 13-0 late in the first quarter, and that was all the points De La Salle needed. By my stats, De La Salle outgained Central Catholic 450 to 176. I mean, they see a lot of things that we don't see.
Right.
But De La Salle looked pretty good to me, and I think they've got a pretty good team. And
definitely. Now they have O'Dowd coming up on Friday night. I was in San Jose on Friday, saw Menlo Atherton handle Bellarmine 28-0, and afterwards MA made it clear that they really wanted this game because of what happened last year. They lost a tight game to Bellarmine on a night in which they retired the number of a freshman kid who passed away of a mysterious illness in December of 2016, and that they wanted to win that game last year for him. They had this big ceremony, had the kid's family out there, and they lost a heartbreaker. So they rededicated the game to him last night, and they go out and win 28-0 against Bellarmine. And by my stats, held Bellarmine to fewer than 100 yards. I had Bellarmine at 97 yards for the game.
Wow,
that's a pretty impressive performance by a team that came in with a lot of injuries. In fact, they moved a wide receiver / defensive back into the quarterback position because the two guys ahead of him were injured, and the kid rushed for 2 touchdowns and threw for another. Justin Anderson.
We talked about how well coached MA is, and I think they proved something on Friday night.
And they also wanted to show that they are elite. They said that they felt like last year, there was all this talk about them, and they didn't live up to that hype last year, and they're off to a good start. Now they get Shamir Bey and Mitty in their next game.
That should be a good game.
That should be a really good game. A couple of shout-outs before we wrap this thing up. Overfelt had a huge win. I talked to Overfelt's coach earlier today. They held off Piedmont Hills 28-27, which was a big win for Overfelt, which they're both part of one big super league out of the Central Coast section, but Overfelt plays in the middle division and Piedmont Hills is in the upper division. So a big win on the road for Overfelt, 28-27. And why don't you tell me a little bit about El Camino, which this score was reported incorrectly to Max Preps. Turns out El Camino won the game by a point.
Yes, they did. On the last play of the game, 40-yard touchdown pass. El Camino was down 13-0 at halftime, and they trailed 19-14 with 1 play left. And it was a great victory for El Camino. The score was wrong on the Max Prep scoreboard, but the San Mateo coach verified that the final was 20-19 and
in favor of El Camino.
El Camino, a great win.
Big.
For a new coach at El Camino, so a great win in his inaugural game.
Indeed. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this one up? I know there's a big game tonight when we're taping this on Saturday afternoon. Sarah of San Mateo will open its season tonight against Sarah of Gardenia. I'm sure we'll talk about that in our video previewing next week's action. But that's a big game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to root, but at the same time, it would be nice to see Northern California do a sweep of the Southern California schools. So,
right. So we'll see.
We'll see if Sarah can do it.
Anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Before we wrap up, sign up for the newsletter. It comes out on Monday. It is free. If you click on any of our stories, you'll see the sign up widget. All you have to do is drop your email address into the widget, and that's it. That's all you have to do, and you will get the newsletter on Monday, which usually posts around 10, 11 in the morning. Right in your inbox, we'll have links to all of our content and probably 5 takeaways from the weekend. We'll expand on some of this stuff here. And then on Thursday, you'll get the weekend preview newsletter. So 5 questions going into next week's week 3 action. So anything else?
Nope, that should about do it. Some
right.
interesting games this weekend.
Yeah, that's a wrap from Walnut Creek.